Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an exciting discussion that I got a lot to say, so let's just jump right into it. So of course this conversation started on Twitter, where it always does. I asked the question, is Tarte Cosmetics a brand that fell off? And the majority answer was yes, it was. And what annoys me about discussions like this is that there's always that person who comes in and they're like, actually, they still make new products. I still buy all their products. They're still a great brand. And it's like, can we not be boo-boo the fool today? Like, can we not? It's very obvious people are saying. It doesn't matter the industry, a brand, a person, a product. It's very obvious when they're not as highly regarded as they once were. And that's what people are saying when they say, oh, so-and-so fell off. Like, yes, we know that they are still a multi-million-dollar brand. They still have loyal customers. They're still in business. They're still going home to mansions at night, at least the owners. We all still know this, but when we say, did they fall off, it's, are they as talked about, as visible as they once were? And that answer is very obviously no when it comes to Tarte Cosmetics. Because 2011, 12, 13, Tarte Cosmetics was an it brand, okay? And people were verbally saying this. You go to, those get to know me tag videos that people used to do, or any Q&A, there was always going to be a question of, what's your favorite makeup brand? And best believe if 20 people were answering, at least like 12 of them would be saying Tarte Cosmetics is one of my favorite brands. Back in the day, they had the Amazonian line, they had the Tartelette palettes, they had of course, Shape Tape. There was a point in time where Tarte blushes were like neck and neck with Too Faced blushes as the top tier blushes in the industry. We have come a very long way, thankfully. But that's where it was. It was that much of a top brand out there. And of course, they had the Trippin' with Tarte, where we got to watch the vlogs of all the influencers going on trips with Tarte. So they were able to jump on the whole influencer marketing thing. So that was another way that they were always in our face. But obviously it's not like that anymore. And I feel like it's very, when you ask the question, okay, so I did ask the question on Twitter. If I said, okay, so if you feel like they fell off, why do you think they fell off? And I feel like the very obvious answer is they fell off because of Tarte Shape Tape foundation launch. And that's why I'm here with this video, because I'm here to say, like, I really don't think that's what their downfall was. So before there was Shape Tape foundation, there was Shape Tape concealer. And listen, I am pretty sure your favorite beauty YouTuber has tried or shown you Shape Tape concealer at least once on their channel. That is another way that Tarte stayed in our faces year after year after year, year after year after year. It was in everyone's yearly favorites video. It was a bestseller at Sephora. I'm pretty sure Ulta carries Tarte. Yeah, at Ulta, at Sephora. Probably to this day, you probably go look and put in your do it from top rated to lowest rated. It probably still is there. That concealer kept Tarte afloat there. That concealer right there. And then Shape Tape foundation, listen, it's gonna be a struggle with that name. Years later, I'm still struggling with it. Shape Tape foundation came out, and it was Armageddon. If you guys do not know what happened, so basically, I want to say it's been like 2 to 3 years now. Tarte Cosmetics announced that they were coming out with Shape Tape foundation, and then Tarte showed us the shade range of that foundation line, and everything just went to it was a very poor shade range. And I feel like you had to experience it to just fully understand just how badly everything just quickly went for Tarte after they showed that shade range. And I feel like that is probably why most people say that was the downfall of Tarte, when they came out with that foundation range. And I just don't agree there, because let's be honest with each other, black outrage is not enough to cancel a whole brand. Or black outrage, or not being inclusive to Black people or just people of color in general is not enough to cancel. It's not enough to cancel influencers. Like, it's not enough to cancel people who literally sit in front of a camera and talk to themselves and then post it online. If it's not enough to cancel them, it's not enough to cancel a multi-million-dollar brand. So that's not why it was canceled. Tarte was on its way out the door before Shape Tape Foundation came out. And if anything, coming out with Shape Tape Foundation is why it was so easy for people to just be like, all right, that's the last thing I needed for that. Okay, now you can exit there. Like, y'all don't think about it. Like, why all these influencers were just so comfortable. It was so easy for them to just jump on that train of calling out Tarte at that time. Because at that time, that's really when because people have been talking about pore shade ranges forever, like literally forever, but that's really the time where, you know, it became a thing to call brands out for pore foundation ranges. That was really when it kicked off at that point. Y'all don't really sit back and think why some of these influencers were just like, all right, especially the ones who have had, you know, their own scandals in the past, their own issues. If they're thinking, I gotta do something, because if I don't say anything, because now this is a hot topic right now. If you're not saying anything, then you might get dragged because, you know, you look complacent with being okay with the brands coming out with these type of ranges. But if you do say something, then, you know, you might get some brownie points for being woke. Right? So if I have to put all of the brands that I'm associated with in front of me, y'all don't question why it was easy for some of those influencers to be like, Tarte, you gotta go. Because they were already out the door. And think about it. Since Shape Tape Foundation, there have been several other pore foundation launches since then. Beauty Blender. Huda wasn't well, at least her range compared to some of the other ones we're talking about wasn't bad. But Huda's been called out for her ranges before. Givenchy? Gucci? I know a brand that starts with the G. There have been plenty of terrible launches since Shape Tape Foundation. Did a lot of those people keep the same energy with those? Or did they go right back to promoting It Cosmetics, Physicians Formula, All May? But you know why? Why they could just be like, Tarte, if I gotta throw someone under the bus, you can go. Because there's something in it for them with those other brands. There was still spark there for those other brands. So they didn't want to cut ties with them. If they had to cut ties with someone, they could cut ties with Tarte because Tarte was already out the door at that time. And it was just like, I mean, hey, it's just business, but can we not drop something into, of course. Like, to me, I feel the Shape Tape Foundation was just icing on the cake for everyone. Because even after it happened, I saw people saying, you know, like, oh, I gotta find a dupe for Shape Tape concealer because I don't want to give them my money anymore, so I need to find a dupe because that's my favorite concealer. And that's really all I was seeing people say, is just, I gotta find a replacement for the concealer, and that was pretty much it. And if your brand gets canceled and there's only one thing that people feel they need to, that they can't fully walk away from, they gotta go, you know, find something that's just as good, that's a problem, okay? I don't know if you guys have heard, but ABH hasn't been in some people's good graces for the last few months. So I have seen people saying, you know, I gotta replace the foundation, the powder, the eyeshadows, the eyeliner, the glitters, like multiple things from the brand. And of course, it's not a good thing for the brand for people to be saying, like, I feel I have to replace these products that I love from them because of how they're acting. But it's a good thing in the sense that they have multiple things to take away from the brand. If you only have one thing to take away, that's a problem. And that, to me, is what was the downfall of Tarte. Yes, they had Amazonian. Yes, they had Tartelette. Yes, they had the blushes. But after a while, you know, it just people really started to look at what it is that they were purchasing, that they were promoting. And again, going back to why it was so easy for some of these influencers to cut ties with them. Because at the time, you know, we're getting these newer brands. We're getting, you know, I feel like Milk was still a little bit later after this, but you know, we're getting the color pops. We're getting more exposure with like NYX and stuff like that. So people could really look at Tarte and be like, oh, you know, these eyeshadows are these eyeshadows are a little dusty. These eyeshadow palettes are looking the exact same with every release that they come out with. And that's what baffles me with Tarte, because I feel like the problem with Tarte Cosmetics is that like none of it is cohesive. Like none of it flows together. You know, at least brands like ABH, like Fenty. With Fenty, you know, like the products flow with the name of the products, what's inside, you know, when you open up the palettes, or the shade ranges flow with everything else, and that all flows with how they present themselves on social media. That all flows with their advertising. Like very rarely do you look at launches and you think, why? Like, what made you think? Maybe that Galaxy thing, but that was when they first came out. You know, they might have been testing the waters with that one. But you know, those type of brands where everything just flows together. With Fenty, it flows. With ABH, it flows. With Milk Makeup, it flows. With Melt Cosmetic, it flows. And that is why those are the brands that are considered like the it brands right now. The brands that people are talking about. Right now, if you ask, you know, what people's favorite brands are, those are the answers that you're getting. And honestly, I asked that question on Twitter. It was Fenty, it was, you know, Pat McGrath, it flows. Those are the brands. With Tarte, I honestly feel like Tarte just throws everything at the wall and they just go with whatever sticks. Even if whatever sticks doesn't make sense, it's stuck to the wall. So that was what we're going with. And I feel like they're so not cohesive that they throw, when I say they throw everything at the wall, I mean they throw everything at the wall. When it comes to, okay, so what are we going to make? Throw everything at the wall. Oh look, eyeshadow palette stuck. Okay, we're gonna make an eyeshadow palette, and then pick everything else up again. Throw it at the wall. What type of eyeshadow palette? A nude one? Okay, cool. And then what type of packaging are we gonna make for the eyeshadow palette? Throw everything at the wall. Oh, look what's stuck. Colorful outside packaging. Colorful outside packaging, but it's a nude palette when you open it, and then when you open it, it looks, oh. Like as an outsider looking in, it looks like Tarte puts the most emphasis on, I can't even say like advertising or marketing. They put the most emphasis on things looking pretty. And I don't even mean like the packaging or anything. You know, like back in the day when you had a PowerPoint to do, and you're like, this is about fire, okay? I can put all the information in later, but right now my main focus is on making sure the PowerPoint looks nice. I'm gonna give it a pretty little border. Okay, I'm gonna put a little flower clip arts in the corner right here, maybe do a little design over here. And that's what I mean when I say like that's what their focus is on. It's on making it look pretty, not making it look like it makes sense and be pretty, but as long as it looks cutesy, you know, like that's all that matters to Tarte. That's where they seem to put the most emphasis, because like I said, nothing else makes sense. Nothing else makes sense with the brand. And it's weird because, you know, I know Too Faced gets this whole like, oh, it's kind of like Claire's makeup and stuff like that, but like Tarte is right in that same boat. Maybe because everything looks so dry, it doesn't get, you know, that same, oh, it's Claire's makeup, kitty makeup, whatever, because, you know, Too Faced is very, you know, pink, cutesy, frilly, girly, whereas Too Faced is just bland, uncooked. That's what it is. Maybe, but they're literally still right there, like this, literally the same exact thing. And like I said, you know, that's where they put the most emphasis. Like, I feel like they sit in the boardroom with each other and everyone's like, yes, okay, so this is what we're going with. This is good. And everyone, that's how everyone's looking at each other. They're all, yes, team, yes, this is going to be good. And there's no one in the room who's sitting there like, no, what are we doing? There's no one in the room to say any of that, because look at how they handled it after the Shape Tape Foundation. This one hair could not. After the Shape Tape Foundation went down, you know, it was the oh, well, we're launching this because, you know, it's coming out in the winter, so I guess, you know, people who are dark skinned in the winter are not also going to be dark skinned in the summer, so they don't need it in the winter. They'll just wait till summer so they can get their shades. And then when they realized like influencers were leaving them as well, they went on to going to other people who literally have like nothing to do with beauty because they had a lot of followers. Like you were looking at some of the tripping with tarts that I don't know if they even still do them anymore, but they did do them after the whole like Shape Tape Foundation thing happened, and they had they were influencers. They were people who had, you know, millions of followers, but like you can look at these people and you know that their followers do not consist of people who are buying makeup like that. Like if they have 1 million followers, like maybe a good 100,000 of them might be interested in makeup, but you know that's not why they're following that person. They're following that person because they're a gamer, you know, they're a lifestyle person. And again, it goes back to just throwing it out the wall. All right, so actual beauty influencers don't want to work with us. Okay, we'll just move on to someone else who has 1 million followers, because that's what we want. We just want visibility. We just want people to push our products, and that's not how it works. And that's not how it works with a lot of brands. Just picking a person because they're popular, yeah, that might get you some sales, but in the long term, what is that going to do for you? Like, what is that going to look at the people who, or the collaborations with just, you know, like random celebrities, random Viners, stuff like that. They don't compare to the type of collaborations with a Makeup Mario or a Jaclyn Hill or like those collabs. They're collabs that you still see talked about years and years and years later, because it flows. It's cohesive. It makes sense, right? The one-timer collabs, okay, it makes a quick little buck, but what happens after that? And is that how you're going to sustain your brand moving forward? By just, you know, like quick little pops, quick little cash grabs, stuff like that. And again, you know, the whole not being inclusive and not having shades that people can purchase is just like icing on the cake of why it's easy to forget about a brand, why it's easy for a brand to, you know, catch its downfall. And there was a little short period of time where they were trying to you know, contact some influencers, some people of color influencers, and doing that, but it's like, but you still weren't coming out with products that they can use. So it's like, what am I going to do? Like, let's imagine that this is foundation. Okay, you contacted me, you want me to talk about your products, but you're still sending me products that foundation that looks like this for me to talk about. What am I going to do for you? Again, you see what I'm saying? Just throwing everything at the wall and just hoping something sticks and going with whatever sticks, even if it doesn't make sense. And then we start moving into the second purpose of this video. The first is, what was the downfall? And to me, that was the downfall. The fact that the brand is just not cohesive. It's all over the place. I feel like it's very tone deaf. I feel like they don't read the room. I feel like they think very short term. They're not thinking, what can we do so that 70 years from now, people are still checking for our brands? I feel like they're very, you know, what can we do that right now, people might buy it right now. We might have a quick like little sellout, quick little pop of interest right now. Oh, let's do a Barbie collaboration. Cool, Barbie, you would probably, you know, get a little buzz there, but then, you know, back to the whole throwing everything at the wall. Okay, you think Barbie, right? And we all know what we would associate with Barbie, right? But then Tarte launches their Barbie collection and you open it and the palette looks like this, but the packaging looks like this. And then this is how they advertise it. And then, you know, you go ahead and you throw that whole not being inclusive thing on top. And of course, yeah, of course, that's going to be your downfall. Of course, you're no longer that it brand anymore. And it all happened at a time where inclusivity was the new trend in the community, and other innovative brands and products were popping up, and people started realizing, oh, okay, you know, maybe these things are a tad bit mediocre. I mean, let's just say it. And like, just to drive home just how oblivious the brand is. I don't know if you guys remember, but April Fools, they posted a palette that they were going to be launching, and everyone was like, oh, wait a minute, this is after the Shape Tape Foundation thing, and everyone's like, hold up, that's actually a cute palette. Tarte is launching this? And then they were like, April Fools, just kidding. Everyone was like, okay, no, but that's actually a good palette. Like, that's actually something interesting coming from Tarte. And then they didn't launch it. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? I'm pretty sure another brand launched it like before they could and stuff like that. And it was like, why do we not like having nice things? I don't understand. Like, imagine people are like, oh, this is exciting. I would buy this. I would give you my money. And the brand is just like, let's come out with the Tartelette 3. So if that was their downfall, is there a possibility that they can make a comeback? Can they ever be that it brand? Again, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I have like really not received any type of like Tarte requests like that since the Shape Tape foundation. I didn't review the foundation because at the point it was just kind of like, at the time it was just kind of like, what's the point? You know, like we see what it is. We've heard everyone else say it. Like at this point I feel like I'd be like just piling on for the purpose of piling on. So I didn't review it, and I like sometimes, you know, sometimes I don't want to waste my money just for the purpose of saying what it is everyone else was saying. You know, now I'm gonna be stuck with this bottle of foundation that I clearly can't wear. So I didn't even bother with the foundation, but ever since then, I really have not received requests for things that Tarte has launched like that. Like maybe throughout the years, I could probably count on like one hand. And I'm being generous with my fingers here. But even brands like It Cosmetics and, you know, other brands that had their little issues, again, like I'm saying, like there were other things since Tarte, but no one's really been canceled like that since Tarte. And I haven't gotten any requests like that until recently on Instagram. I was on Instagram and I got a tag of someone saying like, oh, can you review this? And so I clicked on what they were saying. And I saw the picture, and the picture was bronzers. And you guys know, for like the last year, I've been doing like a little hunt-ish of trying bronzers for deeper complexion. So I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Look at these bronzers. And then I scroll down, and I see that they're bronzers from Tarte. And I was like, Tarte? And funny thing is, like I thought of it, I took a screenshot of it, and I closed out of Instagram and I went over to Twitter, and that same day, the people that I follow on Twitter were having a discussion, and they were like, oh, look at this. Tarte's coming out with bronzers. And I don't remember who tweeted it, but someone was like, funny how we've been begging these brands for less eyeshadow palettes and more complexion products, and it's Tarte that's gonna be one of the brands to give it to us, right? So I started seeing that there's now a conversation being had about Tarte Cosmetics. So I started thinking, is it possible that, you know, Tarte can make a comeback? Now, I have not seen an actual review from anyone that I follow on the bronzers, and the talk about it has died down. So I don't know if it was like a quick little thing for them and it's already over thing, but I wanted to pull up their website and see like what they are doing right now. Was this another quick little pop out there, see if, you know, anyone bites, and then we go back doing the same old thing? So let me pull up Tarte. Okay, so I just pulled up the website. I think they have like a new skin tint. Skin tints are also going to be the thing this year. They've got a new skin tint. Okay, they've got a woman of color on the front page holding it up. Of course, you know, I see, one of the first things I see is the Shape Tape concealer, because that is their #1 product. So all these years later, they are still going to push that. Okay, this is an eyeshadow palette. It's called Sugar Rush. It's got different colors in it. It's a different shape. Again, looking at the colors inside to the packaging, it's better than Tartelette. I'm still not sure how we feel about it being cohesive, but it's a cool little, you know, surfboard shape. That's different for them. Drink of H2O. They've always had skin tint, and then they've got the foundation on the bottom of the page. I see that we know to put at least one dark shade in there in the advertising Tarte. But let's click on their new arrivals, see what that's looking like. Shape Tape waterproof body makeup. Okay. Must-haves, busy goggles, eye and cheek palette. The eye and cheek palette, the colors look better than what's been in palettes before, but you know. Okay, body bronzer. What is this? Self tanner. There's the new tinted hydrator. Maracuja, that was also another thing that they were big on. That comes in 20 shades. Okay. I'm seeing more color. I guess they've got a new Sugar Rush line that's more color. Okay. Party on the Go color collection. Okay. Eye and cheek palette. Hydration. Where? I don't even see. Oh, these are the bronzers. These are what the bronzers look like. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is a thing going on right now with the whole bronzer trend. I don't know if you guys, like, a lot of bronzers are coming out, and then a lot of people of deeper complexions are like buying the bronzers, and then you notice the bronzer in real life does not look like how it's being advertised in the picture. That could be another video if you want. I already have a video that's like that about something that happened last year. But they're bronzers. That one runs pretty deep. Okay, Tarte. So looking at the new arrivals page, I can say that I do see a difference that I don't feel I would have seen if I was looking at it 4 years ago. It's definitely it's less uncooked, it's less ashy. You definitely see more color in the complexion products, in the, you know, eye products. You see more color in the packaging. You see a little bit more thought being put into the packaging. There's more color in the eyeshadow palettes and that stuff, and they kind of make sense more with each other. So I can give Tarte that. Do I think Tarte can ever be that it brand again? No, I don't. I don't see that for them. Do I think Tarte can make a comeback? No, I don't. I think they're just going to continue on as in the place that they are right now, where, you know, they might have a little pop every now and then, a little moment of people saying, oh, look, it's Tarte, but then it's going to go back to just being like, Tarte. And that's kind of the vibe that you get when you mention Tarte. Like, my comments were getting spicy, like the best way to put it, on Twitter when I said, you know, like, are they a still popular brand, and if not, why? Those replies were getting spicy, and I think it's because it was a top brand and then they let everyone down. So that's why people kind of have like a disgusted, I don't like you type of vibe with Tarte. And I think looking at it, they still don't get it. Like, they still don't get it. Like, okay, cool. You know, I actually no. I think, if anything, seeing the more color and the more innovative and just things that make sense is because they caught on that they've got competition. That's another thing too. A lot of these brands that are kind of just like in the mix there, and they're not as talked about as much, Too Faced, Benefit, all those things, I think they're catching on that we have to do something, because now we have the Fenties, we have the Melts, we have these there's so many, you know, high end, low end, in the middle, who are just bringing it with creativity. So I think that is actually why that new arrivals page looks like it is, because if you go over to their Instagram page, like, it looks exactly how it looked 4 years ago. You know, they still haven't caught on to the whole inclusivity thing. I'm pretty sure they'll catch on, you know, if they have like a foundation launch or something like that, or a bronzer launch or anything like that, but it's not genuine, and that's also very noticeable. So that's probably why people, even though, yeah, they came out with foundations for different shades, they came out with bronzers for different shades, but how do you move all the time? Not just when you're coming out with those things. Like, people pay attention to that. I hope brands realize that. I know some of them think like everyone's dumb, but I hope brands realize, like, people pay attention to stuff like that. So that there's that whole part there that seems a little disingenuous with that aspect, and the rest of it is just like, you're still giving that, you know, just tone deaf, just oblivious, just unable to read the room type of vibe. So I think that's why, like, yeah, they had that little buzz, but I didn't see anyone review it. I didn't see anyone buy it. I don't see anyone still talking about it, you know, like a couple months. Has it been months now? I think it's been months. A couple months later, because that's just how they're going to continue on. They're just going to continue on as that brand that comes out, and, you know, maybe they'll give you a little collection that sparks something, and then, you know, back of the line, back you go. So that's just, you know, where I stand with this. I'd like to know from you, do you think they can make a comeback? Have they made a comeback to you? If they haven't, is there anything that they can do to make that comeback? Like, what do they have to do, from advertising to the products that they launch to how they engage with the consumer and with the influencers that they use? How can they do something Because like I said, like they're not going to be that it girl again. But how can they do something to where they're a constant part of the conversation? That's what I'm trying to get across here. They're not going to be they're not a constant part of the conversation. They might have their little moments, but then they just go back into, you know, being forgotten about. So what can they do to you guys to be a constant part of the conversation? Or is that just not possible for a brand like Tarte? That's where I am. I just feel like it's not possible because they don't want to get it. That's what they don't want to get it. And I'm not sure if it's one of those things where it's like there might be someone who has too much power behind the brand, so where even if they do have some people who were trying to knock it into other people's heads that it's not working what we're doing, there might be that one person who makes all the decisions and they get the final say so and everything. So until that person decides that it's time to change, it's just always going to be like that. It very well could be something like that. It very well could just be that, you know, they're okay with where it is. They don't need to be, you know, the it brand. Again, they don't need to be a brand that, you know, pushes inclusivity. They're just okay with the loyal followers that they have right now, and you know, their little quick cash grabs by, you know, attaching themselves to this person or that person, and they're okay with that, and that's fine. I mean, it won't be a brand that I'll be checking for if that's how it continues, but they don't need me and I don't need them, so everyone's happy at that point. But if they did want to change, leave your comment down below and tell me how you think that they can do it. And I feel like that is it for me dragging Tarte. It wasn't a drag. This wasn't a drag. It was a discussion. Oh, there was also the, you know, little Asian slur scandal that they had. So I could understand if that is a reason why they can't make a comeback in your eyes. Again, we're gonna call it like it is though. We know racism is not enough to be the full-on downfall of any of these brands, but with the way they chose to handle it, going back to the whole, you know, tone deaf thing, instead of just taking responsibility for the fact that your brand posted it in general, we're just going to blame the intern and take like no accountability. Hello, Tarte, if you're watching this, wondering all the places that you went wrong. Okay, but that is it for this video. Yeah, join the discussion in the comments down below. I hope it was interesting taking a trip back and seeing where things shifted in the industry, how they shifted, why they shifted. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one.